Let's take a look at Monday, the beginning of week 7, what the schedule looks like, how we can manipulate the schedule, and how we can use the powers of telekinesis to stream in the right players. Michael Bolton, what's your wizarding skills like?
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and Bert Newton is my uncle. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We are available on all platforms, and we are part of the #1 sports podcast network, which is, of course, the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, thanks again. Let's bang these subs up on YouTube. I want to hit it up to 100. We're a fair way away. I know that. Please. Nickname show. Anyway, let's talk about the games. Yeah, let's talk about the games coming up on, what day is it? Monday is the day that we're looking at. Beginning of week 7. Week 8 coming up is NBA Cup week, where the schedule is going to be all jacked up. But I believe we've got the dates and the schedules and that announced. I think. Pretty sure we do. Let's take a look at these games now, though. For Monday, there are 9 of them. And we talked about this on the preview show that came out yesterday, the Week 7 preview show, is that we're basically streaming every day this week, apart from 12 games on Friday. Too busy, obviously, but that's basically what we're doing. So what are we looking at here? The games. Bucks and Wizards. First one up. Do we have anything that's incredibly early or incredibly late? Not really. A regularly scheduled day, which we love. Hawks, Pistons. Cavs, Pacers. Clippers, Heat. Bulls, Magic. By the way, remember the Bulls started the season 4-0? They're trash again. And you are seeing the problems with that Bulls team, where I know people were very excited about how good they were going to be. And what my concerns about real-life play of Giddey and Vooch and these sort of guys is that they can have individual stats, all that sort of stuff, but you can't make a good team with these players. There's just too many issues with that sort of player type that creates problems, and they are really copying it now. Even though I did pick their over, and I still think they can get it, they look terrible. Anyway, Bulls, Magic. Hornets, Nets. What an interesting game. The Hornets on the back of 2 straight wins. Can they do it again? Rockets, Jazz. On the back of them literally playing each other on Sunday. We've got a back-to-back that's actually a real back-to-back between the same 2 teams. Rockets, Jazz again. Mavs, Nuggets. And then the final game of the day is the Suns and the Lakers. They are the 9 games that are on. What about injury stats or injury updates or injury statuses? Old mate Giannis Antetokounmpo is probable. I'm going to put Khris Middleton as probable for one specific reason. It is a back-to-back for the Wizards, and Middleton won't play both games. But it's against the Bucks. I imagine he'll play the game against the Bucks, and he'll sit the game on Tuesday. Maybe he doesn't, but I'm just going to go ahead and label him probable for this one. Hawks and Pistons is the next game. I would love to know what is happening with Kristaps Porzingis and his pots. At this point, I'll put him as questionable. He's out for Sunday. Jalen Duren, questionable, missed the last game. Karis LeVert, I believe it was just an injury management thing, so I think he'll be okay. Duren, I think will be okay, but I can't give you 100% on that. We also know Trae Young remains sidelined. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they are on a back-to-back here as well. Lonzo Ball is out on Sunday, so he should be available on Monday. I don't know whether Darius Garland is going to be sitting on the back-to-back, so I'll put him questionable. Craig Porter, questionable. Slam and Sammy Merrill is out again on Sunday. I think he'll probably be out Monday, but I'm not sure. While the dildo John Murphy remains out. John Furphy, like the beer. In terms of other injuries or other notes, I guess, camcorder legend Ray J. Dennis got waived. It is a tough time for all of you Super 8 enthusiasts, but Ray J, maybe he catches on somewhere. Maybe there's a guest spot for him on All's Fair. Just off the NBA for a second. I don't know if any of you have watched All's Fair. Kim Kardashian's legal passion project. Might be the funniest show I've ever watched in my life, and not intentionally. 5 times every episode I'm watching it. Like, my partner started watching it, like, it's part of a joke, and then she started watching an episode. It was episode 5, right? I started jumping in and go, how dare you, how very dare you watch this show without me? Because it is the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. So, if you want to laugh at the dumbest stuff you have ever seen in your life, please, this is not a sponsored ad, watch All's Fair, the stupidest show I've ever seen in my life. And how they convinced a bunch of unbelievably good actors, Naomi Watts, Sarah Paulson, Glenn Close, Al Bundy's in it, Ed O'Neill. How? It is unintentional. I say 5 times laugh. There is laugh out loud, what are you talking about moments 10 times an episode. Please watch it. Shout out to Ray J for enabling us with his camcorder skills to get to this point in our lives. Anyway, Ray J Dennis was waived by the Pacers. I'm sure you didn't expect that little sidebar. Clippers Heat. Jordan Miller, I expect, will be out for the Clippers. By the way, what's going on in the world where LaMelo Ball and Kawhi Leonard playing back-to-backs on the same day? Bogdanovic has been out for a while. He's questionable. Jaime Jaquez Jr. also questionable. Last game, Jaquez was out, and then Fontecchio got DMP'd, and we had little Chungus back in the rotation. The Heat are in a rotation squish problem. We also saw, by the way, Superman play like 23 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on that. No other injuries of note there. By the way, Bradley Beal's still 52% rostered on Yahoo. Sick. Shouldn't have even been rostered when he was healthy, let alone injured. What are we talking about now? Bulls Magic. Zach Collins remains out. I don't expect that Paolo Banchero is back. Although he could be. I think that return is coming soon, but we don't really know. And the Bulls just have a million injury question marks. Julian Phillips probably hasn't played most nights. Jalen Smith should. Dalen Terry could. But the big one is Isaac Okoro. Because Okoro, since he's been out, their defense has turned into absolute dust. Not that Okoro is a good player, but if he gets 24 minutes, it has to come from somewhere. Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter. Where does it come from? Kobe White will be back as well. He's had the last game on a back-to-back. He'll be fine. But the Okoro one, as dumb as it sounds, the absence of Isaac Okoro or the presence of Isaac Okoro changes a lot. It changes your stream of Huerter. It changes the value of Trey Jones. It changes all of that. Hornets and Nets is your next game. Michael Podcast Jr. has missed the last 2. We know that the Nets are in the midst of a 5-game in 7-night stretch. He missed the first 2 of those. He's dealing with a back issue. I hope that this gives you further indication that his presence in February and March and April is very far from confirmed. You obviously can't trade him away right now because he's injured. Wait till he comes back and puts together some big chungus lines and then move on maybe. Yegor Dioman, I expect to be back. I think that he sat the game on Monday due to the fact that it was a back-to-back and he's coming off that foot issue. And he played a lot of minutes the game before. So Dioman, I expect plays, but keep an eye on it, but that's why I've labelled him probable. The Rockets and Jazz, they're currently playing at the moment as I'm recording this, so they're playing again on Monday. Kevin Love is out on Sunday, so he should play on Monday. Ace Bailey's playing Sunday. I expect that he plays again, and I don't think that Finney Smith or George Niang are going to be available. And I don't think there's going to be any issues with Larry Markkinen or Kevin Durant or anyone like that resting or anything like that. Don't think there's a problem. Mavericks Nuggets. Last game, we saw PJ Washington get hurt in warm-ups. I'm going to label him questionable. We haven't got an update on that. Tone Davis and Dan Gafford were both out resting on the back-to-back, so they both should be back. So you're not going to get a 33-minute Dwight Powell 6-steal masterpiece again. Both of these guys will be back. If Washington is out, Najee Marshall is going to be the guy that really should start to thrive there. And the final game of the day is Phoenix and the Lakers. LeBron is out on Sunday, so he should be back on Monday. Marcus Smart is out on Sunday. He's missed a few. I think he's probably out on Monday too, but I don't know. And one of the other ones will be Ryan Dunn. And then when Dunny comes back, what does it do to Colin Gillespie? The other one is Mark Williams. Mark was out on Saturday. And Osset Iguodaro started. Williams will be back. He'll play his minutes and we'll be good to go as we move forward from there. We're going to come back and we're going to hack the schedule. No, we're not going to do things like monitoring our sleep patterns to hack life and become forever young and do weird things with our tracking of our children and what they do. Shout out to that guy. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The holiday season is one of the best times for sport. Bowl games, basketball, NFL playoffs, it's all happening at once. And we make choices every day, but one of the fun places to make the right call is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the easiest way to get in on daily fantasy. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections. You lock it in your lineup and you're in the game. It is simple and it's available and it's fast. It's available actually in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia, part of the big 5 states, along with South Dakota. PrizePicks has added an extra layer of excitement. I don't know if it's available in South Dakota. PrizePicks has added an extra layer of excitement to holiday sports schedule by making these lineups easy to do. Plus, the new player stacks feature allows and enables. Similar meaning, different words. Labels again. Hey, we're just going to do it. It enables you to choose the same player up to 3 times. Like you can choose a quarterback's passing yards, their passing touchdowns, and their rushing yards, and pick more or less on each of those in the same lineup. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The code is LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. Okay, we are talking Monday, 9 games in the NBA. Let's take a look at how we can go about, as legendary people that we are, hacking a schedule. And what do I mean by that? I don't know. I basically just mean taking advantage, getting extra games in. How do you manipulate what your lineups look like to get just more games and dropping your crud to get something good in? There's a lot of back-to-backs coming in Sunday to Monday. Atlanta, we talked about it, and the risks of Porzingis, but he's out on Sunday, so if he's healthy, he'll play Monday. Cleveland, Ball will be back, but does Garlow play after being available Sunday? I don't know. We also got the news that Larry Nance is out for about a month. So deeper leagues, you want to look at Naquan Tomlin. Jarrett Allen also sidelined in Cleveland too. So you have to get a lot of Naquan Tomlin, actually. And if you're actually going like double Onyx, the tank Tom Bryant is their other center. I don't know if anyone's got Tristan Thompson's phone, or maybe Ray J. Dennis does. Maybe they can get him back in. The Rockets, talked about them already. The Jazz, they're playing each other both days. The other one is the Lakers, and we talked about LeBron and his status. I don't think that Luka or Reeves will be any risk of resting. And then Monday to Tuesday, we talked about this on the Week 7 streaming show, how if you plan out your week and do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday streaming, that's great. You can max out your games, but the options are very limited. And because there's only one team that plays Monday, Tuesday, and that is the Wizards. So we expect Middleton to sit one of those games. I'll be very intrigued to watch with the Wizards as well about Tristan Vukcevic, because Marvin Bagley was healthy last game, didn't play. So is Vukcevic just the backup now? I don't know. I want to watch that. Or if there's any risk of Alexandre Sarr sitting. Alexander. Alex. New Sarr dropping in the league next year apparently. Dame Sarr. Get ready for another Sarr. Okay, what do we do now? Yeah, we're looking at chunks, aren't we? We're going Monday to Friday. 5-day chunks is what we look at, except for Friday being a 12-game day. So that's not a streaming day. So is there a way to max out in the 4 days leading up? Yeah, there is sort of, because the Brooklyn Nets and the Washington Wizards, 2 absolutely disaster dumpster teams, have 3 games in 4 nights. Noah Clowney, for some reason due to, I don't know, I'm going to guess lobotomies, was the most dropped player on Yahoo. Please correct that. Going at him. Not only did it make no sense to drop him, but they got 3 games in 4 nights. Please do it. Bilal Coulibaly. Don't value him as a player long term. Schedule's there. Do it. Let's go. Yegor Dioman. Now, I guess the risk of Dioman is that he sits what is their other back-to-back? I think it's the Wednesday, Thursday back-to-back that they have. That he only plays one of them and only get 2 games, and that's not as interesting. The last time we actually saw him play, he was bloody brilliant. Now, that means he probably has 2 points on 11% shooting, but there's some volume there. And then there are 2 guys who played 2 games over the next 4 streamable days, Monday to Thursday, who are going to be worth it. And that is Moses Moody, because Steph is out. And then, yes, Jay Huff is the better option than Isaiah Jackson. So I'm going to mention, just a spoiler alert, I'm going to mention Isaiah Jackson a lot on today's show. He's going to be mentioned in streaming a lot. And you're going to say, what about Jay Huff? You're going to say, what about TJ McConnell? Well, they're over the cutoff that I use. If they're rostered in 80% of leagues, according to the tracking we have at Basketball Monster, then they're rostered, right? So I'm not going to talk about them. Isaiah Jackson's at 20%. So yeah, he is streamable. He was really good in the last game. Do I think that he's a must roster? No, I'm not that stupid. But his name is going to keep appearing, because even if he plays 21, 22 minutes, there is stream appeal there. And 2 games, 4 nights, we're somewhat interested. Now, of course, if Huff is there, that's what you prioritize. I don't need to go into 5s and 2s because we just did that. We did the Week 7 preview showing who's got the games, and no one has 5, but 22 teams have 4. And there are 2 teams with 2 games, Phoenix and the Kings. Just as I said I wasn't going to do that, I did it. But that's okay. Sometimes we have to make choices and decisions. Let's talk streaming. Who are the streams of the day for Monday's 9 games? Just in case you're wondering what cutoffs I use, we have our advanced roster metric on Basketball Monster. For 10-team leagues, I use under 60%. If you're under 60%, you qualify. Isaiah Jackson. If you're a 12-teamer, I do under 40%. Actually, do under 39, but whatever. That's Chris Dunn, who's played 30 minutes plus, I think it's 3 straight games. Now, that could be because Bogdan Bogdanovic is out, but Dunn is starting to produce the numbers where you go, oh, that's actually getting a little bit interesting. For 14-teamers, I use 12% or under. And Khris Middleton is under 12% rostered. And he on the waiver wire show we did earlier today, I showed you, the last week he's the 63rd ranked player. Don't think he's a must roster at all. And he's not going to play both these games. But yeah, I love it for a stream for double onyxes and deepers and even 12s for this week. And then for deep leagues, I use a 5% roster cutoff. Bruce Brown Jr. Double-digit assist last game. Good luck finding that anywhere. And honestly, good luck finding that from Bruce Brown in the next game as well. But the Shark has at least a role coming off the bench. He is, again, love Brucey, but he is washed. He's washed in the same way that Bobby Portis is washed. Elite role players at one point in time, and you're trying to recreate that, and they just don't have the juice anymore. They can't squeeze it out. They're still doing something, and they've still got some minutes, but it's not the same. But we're relying on deeper league value for Brucey Brown. Your Yahoo point streaming, I use a cutoff of 30% rostered on Yahoo to give you what I'm looking at here, and that is why Bilal Coulibaly is the number 1 guy. He's at 20% rostered on Yahoo. Again, don't buy into Bilal as a long-term ad. But 3 games, 4 nights, good value here, do it. And then on ESPN, I also use 30% on ESPN rostered as the cutoff. And Wendell Carter Jr., for whatever reason, is at 18%. Guys, come on. Wendell's just a must-roster guy. And he's had a great season. So it's a pretty easy stream to me to add Wendell Carter Jr. in that spot. We're going to go through more streamers in a sec. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. You could put your knowledge of watching things as the action unfolds on FanDuel to the test. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is the best when you see something in the game start to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. And you can jump straight into that moment with FanDuel, with live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly and player prop updates as guys heat up. But we're here talking basketball as well, so they have stuff for the NBA and basketball too. In fact, got their awards odds up, and Shea is the favorite now over Nikola Jokic. Plus 140 versus plus 160. I would say that seems fair. But the other interesting one to me is that Chet Holmgren has jumped way ahead of Victor Wembanyama for Defensive Player of the Year. Now, I'm going to guess that's because they think that there's a risk that Wemby doesn't hit 65 games played. But Wemby's down to plus 350. I think he's like minus 500 to begin the year. Chet's at plus 130. Now, I don't get that because I don't think Chet's been that good. But yeah, that's going to make the Defensive Player of the Year award betting very weird if Wemby doesn't qualify again. But you can check all that over at FanDuel. It's all over there. All the odds, all the action, all the live betting as well. So when you're right in the middle of that action this season, go to FanDuel.com and place your NFL bets all season long live. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. We're YouTubing, we're subscribing, we're thumbing up. We are part of the number 1 sports podcast network, the Locked On Podcast Network, and we're also here to talk stream. We're here to talk streaming. We're here to look at more detailed names now on these lists for points leagues, for category leagues, for different size leagues. So let's go to our 10-team stream list. We are going to start with Isaiah Jackson because, again, I just think he's a good stream. Chris Dunn is there. Jaeger Dioman is there. I'm expecting Dioman to play after sitting the back-to-back. Brandon Willow Williams, yes, he did come off the bench behind Ryan Nembhard, but he played more than him, and he was pretty successful coming off the bench. So while I'm not sure he's going to remain a 12-team must-roster player, Brando, for now, there's stream value in it, and for now, I am holding. And then Khris Middleton is on a 10-team stream list as well. I talked about him as being the 14-team stream of the day because he's rostered nowhere. But even in 10-team leagues, I would very much consider him in, unless, weirdly, he sits the game against the Bucks. For 12-teamers, look at those first 5 names, see if they're around, go for it. Otherwise, now you go to list. Brucey Brown Jr., Goga the Dart Badadze, Najee Marshall. Now, Najee Marshall is down this low because at the moment, my projections have Davis playing, Gafford playing, Washington playing. I have no doubt that AD will play. Very, very confident Gafford will play. But if PJ doesn't, then Najee's value will rise. Now, what they could do in order to save a baby's ego, they could play Anthony Davis at the 4, they could play Gafford at the 5, and there would be no room for Marshall to start. But if Davis does play the 4, then Najee probably will start. So keep an eye on that. Nico Batum is getting a ton of minutes for the Clippers. They're not winning, but he's getting a lot of minutes, and that makes him somewhat interesting. And then Bubbles Carrington in Washington is getting, he's getting minutes. I mean, he's not really doing much, but I guess there's a chance at some point something good comes of them. We'll see. And what about deeper leagues? Drew Smith has survived the Miami rotation hit with the return of Hero, Wiggins, Powell. Like, he's still in there. He gets his 16 minutes. He can get 3 steals at any point. Tristan Da Silva. Even though Paolo is coming back soon, he's still out at this stage. Tristan's been bad, but he can get you 16 points with 3 threes, 5 rebounds, which might even be more than a deep league guy. Jonas Valanciunas is a deep league option. Now, his upside is really limited, but it's not outrageous to say 9 and 6 with a block in 17 minutes is something he could deliver. Lonzo Ball, I expect, will be back. And if Darren Garland, Darius's less exciting brother, if Big Daz is available, or if Big Daz doesn't play on Monday, then Lonzo's value will go even higher. And if Craig Porter is out, Lonzo pushes even higher again. So Lonzo's an option for you. And the last one there, again, this is when you get really desperate. This is when you got to call the number. What's the number? It's the Ben Shepherd hotline. Like, I'm succumbing. I'm trying Ben Shepherd again. Now you realize that he's probably going to score 4. I know he's probably going to score 4 points. I know. But I just can't help it, man. I just can't help it. Ben Shepherd, deep league category stream. Yahoo Points League streaming. These are all 30% rostered or under, including one that's a 10% guy. Bilal Coulibaly. Mr. Black. Anthony Black, who I thought more people would have run to grab him, honestly. And if you did, I think it's okay. I don't think he's got any shot of sustaining value. And part of the thing that's happening with Black, which is one of the things that media, social media, really does cling to, is that Anthony Black has games where he scores 20 points and it comes on 83%. And for a non-fantasy based account, or whatever it is, that's great. They'll celebrate that. They go, Anthony Black has 20 points on 80% shooting. Wow, what a game. Because it is good to hit 80% of your shots. But we look at that and go, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, no steals, and he's never going to shoot that way again. Not interested. Still, value in him at the moment. He is playing well. And he has quite a few outbursts. Peyton Watson is a must-roster player. Not really sure why he's sitting on the wire. Isaiah Jackson, there's that name again. And then Timothy John McConnell, who's not as good in points as he is in category leagues, but his usage is sky high. We got the steals coming in last game. He's getting some rebounds and assists. He just should be rostered. But he isn't yet, so there you go. He's not on Yahoo's numbers anyway. For ESPN points, it's basically the same list of guys, except Wendell Carter for some reason is available. So it's Wendell, it's Bilal, it's Mr. Black, it's Peyton Watson, and it is, once again, Isaiah Jackson. Now, I believe McConnell's like 50% rostered on ESPN because I think he was ranked at 100, so he just got auto-drafted in a lot of spots. But that's your list. That's your streamers. And that is a daily look ahead for all of the games on Monday with 9-9. We'll be back to recap Sunday's NBA action with the full double bang, triple bang, big bursting, ball busting recap show, whatever you want to call it, or it's just me talking about what goes on Sunday. You can frame that however you want. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, watching, thinking, dreaming, imagining. See ya.